Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony's Daily Devotion and Wellness Update. I am your host, Tony, and I am super excited to be here. After a long, treacherous day today, dealing with a broken water heater and no hot water and flooding in the basement and a lot of things going on today, I'm super excited that things have calmed down and have finally gotten back to normal. And I'm excited to continue on with our next few videos as we continue on our study together. Today, as most of you know, is what we call Good Friday, the Friday before Easter, the day that we remember Christ's crucifixion, the day that he saves us all from our sins. And it's a very powerful day, and it's a very moving day, and it's a great day to dwell together and pray together and remember the importance together. So today, our devotion, once again, comes from Our Daily Bread, and we are on Friday, April 15th, Good Friday. The title is His Cross of Peace, and our reading tonight comes from St. Mark, chapter 15, verses 16 through 24. And I'll read those for you now. Where'd it go? There it is. The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace and called together the whole company of soldiers. They put a purple robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him. And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Again and again they struck him on the head with a staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him, and when they had mocked him, they took off him the purple robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him. Dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see what each will get. Now, my NIV Bible is a study Bible. And the great thing about this study Bible is that you can go down on the bottom of the page and break up the verses that you were reading to do a little bit more in-depth study. And I would really like to do that for you tonight, because this is such a very powerful time in Jesus' life and for us. And so everything in here is so important. So we're going to go over this really quickly as well. So chapter 15, verse 13, crucifixion was the Roman penalty for rebellion. Only slaves of those who were not Roman citizens could be crucified. If Jesus died by crucifixion, which he did, he would die the death of a rebel and slave, not of the king he claimed to be. This is just what the Jewish religious leaders wanted, and the reason they whipped the mob into a frenzy. In addition, crucifixion would put the responsibility for killing Jesus on the Romans. In 1515, we dive in a little bit more. The region of Judea where Pilate ruled as governor was a little more than a hot and dusty outpost of the Roman Empire. Because Judea was so far from Rome, Pilate was given just a small army. His primary job was to keep peace. We know from historical records that Pilate had already been warned about the other uprisings in his region. Although he may have seen no guilt in Jesus and no reason to condemn him to death, Pilate waved when the Jews in the crowd threatened to report him to Caesar. You hear about this in John chapter 19, verse 12. Such a report, accompanied by a riot, could cost him his position and hopes for advancement. Although Jesus was innocent according to Roman law, Pilate caved into political pressure. He abandoned what he knew was right. Trying to second-guess the Jewish leaders, Pilate gave a decision that would please everyone while keeping himself safe. When we lay aside God's clear statements of right and wrong and make decisions based on the preferences of our audience, we fall into compromise and lawlessness. God promises to honor those who do right, not those who make everyone happy. Then we look into chapter 15, verse 19. The brutal guards, the power-hungry governor, the conniving religious leaders had the upper hand, but they did not know the true power and authority of this man they were torturing and had condemned to death. Worldly powers and philosophies that mock Jesus' lordship will not be so arrogant when Jesus returns in judgment, which you can read about in Philippians chapter 2, verses 10 and 11. When you feel that unjust people who have control and viewpoints hostile to Christianity are carrying the day, rest assured that Jesus holds the highest place and will return in glory. 21. Colonies of Jews existed outside of Judea. Simon had made a Passover pilgrimage to Jerusalem all the way from Cyrene in North Africa. His sons, Alexander and Rufus, are mentioned here, probably because they became well known in the early church. You can read about them in Romans chapter 16, verse 13. Verse 24. Casting lots was a way of making a decision by chance, like throwing dice or drawing straws. The soldiers cast lots to decide who would receive Jesus' clothing. Roman soldiers had the right to take for themselves the clothing of those crucified. This act fulfilled the prophecy of Psalm 22, verse 18. Crucifixion was a feared and shameful form of execution. The victim was forced to carry his cross along the longest possible route to the crucifixion site as a warning to all bystanders. There were several shapes for crosses and several different methods of crucifixion. Jesus was nailed to the cross. Condemned men were sometimes tied to their crosses with ropes. In either case, death came by suffocation as the persons lost strength and the weight of the body made breathing more and more difficult. Verse 26. A sign stating the condemned man's crime was often placed on a cross as a warning. Because Jesus was never found guilty, the only accusation placed on his sign was the crime of being King of the Jews. 27. Oh, we didn't read that far. No wonder I'm kind of like, what's going on here? So, we just talked about 25, right? Which is the verse after of where I stopped. And it says this, verse 25. It was the third hour when they crucified him. There's your last verse. And then 26 I talked about too, which is the next one. The written notice of the charge against him read, the King of the Jews. So there's your, that was my mistake. I apologize. Got a little excited and carried on there. So we read through St. Mark chapter 15, verses 16 through 26, actually, is what we did. So there's a little bit more in depth for you. This is why I love the NIV Study Bible. It gives you the ability to dive deeper into Scripture so you understand what you're reading, especially with names and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome to have this kind of Bible. I highly recommend it to everybody to find that kind of study Bible. That'll work. Okay, now we get into our daily devotion. Okay, so now we're back on track. So the title of our devotion today is called His Cross of Peace. Somber eyes peered out of the painting Simon of Cyrene by the contemporary Dutch artist Ebert Moderman. Simon's eyes reveal the immense physical and emotional burden of his responsibility. In the biblical account from Mark chapter 15, which we read, we learn that Simon was pulled from the watching crowd and forced to carry Jesus' cross. Mark tells us that Simon was from Cyrene, a big city in North Africa with a large population of Jews during Jesus' time. Most likely, Simon had journeyed to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. There he found himself in the middle of an unjust execution, but was able to perform a small but meaningful act of assistance to Jesus, which we read about in Mark chapter 15, verse 21. Earlier in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus tells his followers, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." On the road to Golgotha, Simon literally did what Jesus figuratively asked his disciples to do. He took up the cross given to him and carried it for Jesus' sake. We too have many crosses to bear, perhaps an illness, a challenging ministry assignment, the loss of a loved one, persecution for our faith. As we carry these sufferings by faith, we point people to the sufferings of Jesus and his sacrifice on the cross. It was his cross that gave us peace with God and the strength for our own journey. So I ask you all tonight, what cross have you been asked to carry? How can you use this struggle to point others to Jesus? And I close with prayer. Jesus, thank you that you understand and sympathize with the pain I experience as I take up my cross and follow you. Give me courage and strength even when the journey is difficult. All right, now we get into part 2 of our video. I'm already running 11 minutes and 26 seconds, so I apologize for the long video, but Good Friday is such an important day. And so I'm happy that we went a little bit more in depth in this one. So now we get to part 2, which is the wellness update from me. Today is officially day 3 of my program that I'm on. When I started on Wednesday, which is, 3 days ago, I did all my weigh-ins and did all my stuff. I weighed in at 275 and change. Today, I was kind of curious. And so I weighed myself again, and I'm happy to say that I weighed in at 267 and change. So this program is definitely working. I'm officially, should be done detoxing here. I don't have any more headaches, which is great. I did have a little boo-boo, to say the least. I gave in to temptation and had a breadstick with cheese. It was phenomenal. But I felt super guilty as soon as I did it. I contacted my coaches and my support team, and they were very understanding, very supportive that, everybody falters at one point or another. Nobody's perfect. So there are going to be those mistake days, I call it. So that was really nice to have that support and that backing, knowing that, these things happen. But my box of stuff came today. I've been sneaking stuff from a friend and from my wife, using some of her stuff. So now I can officially stop touching all of her stuff, and now I can move on to mine. And my coaching box arrived today too. I am so pumped about this coaching box. All the materials that they gave me and some stuff that I can use to benefit not only me, but everybody who wants to get onto this program. And I'm telling you, I'm not BSing you or anything. This is the greatest program. I mean, the fact that I can sit on the couch, eat food, and lose weight, sign me up. Don't even have to exercise or anything, and you're not starving yourself. You're not doing all these things that some people think that you're doing. And it's quite an amazing thing. So I highly recommend to everybody to, if you're seriously considering getting better health for you or your family or whoever you want to do it for, I highly recommend you to reach out to me, and I would be gladly happy to go over everything with you and show you how awesome it is, just like I'm experiencing. So day 3, officially day 3 has been good 95% of the time, that 5% that I screwed up. Other than that, things are going really, really well. So I appreciate all the support from everybody. I appreciate all the reaching out from everybody. And If you guys have any questions about either the devotion or about the wellness update, please don't hesitate to reach out, call, text, message. I post my videos on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, not only about the wellness that I'm doing, but I also want to spread the gospel as well. So hopefully I'm making a difference. I really hope to think I am, but you never know for sure, of course. So, and once again, on this Good Friday, dear friends, dear family, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in God's light. Take care, and I'll talk to you all very soon.